Hi everyone, I'm back to the little spot I made my first video. It must have been more than a year ago, or maybe right around a year ago. I remember I was so afraid. And just so everybody knows, we'll formally introduce, this is Ata. She comes around every time I make this, bring my little laptop outside, and when I sit in my chair, she learns she can't get up in my lap because I have the computer. But since I don't have the computer in my lap, here she is. Say hi, Ata. Say hi to everyone. I got her when she was a little kitten, about 6 weeks old, I guess. And she's my sweetheart. She's here every morning when I get ready to leave, or when I get up actually, she comes to greet me. Wants food too. And then whenever I leave, she's right there on the porch saying goodbye. When I get home, she's right here to say hello. Where you been? And I think I've come a long way. I've grown a lot the last year. At points in my life, I've gone through so much sorrow and pain, it's hard to feel or be happy. But that's part of what I wanted to talk to you about today. Is we're not going to find happiness outside of ourselves. It's by cleansing our energy, purifying our hearts, clearing our karma, that we can actually find a place to be happy. And I think for the first time in my life, I'm finding that for me. I've always felt like whenever I find my sweetheart, that would make me happy. And, I found somebody that I love very deeply and probably will always love very deeply. But it didn't make me completely happy because we had some deep cultural differences, deep differences in our priorities. And I was happy when we were in the same place, on the same page. But just as soon as it wasn't we were on the same page, then I had a hard time maintaining my own peace. And my own serenity and grounding and balance and everything else. And for the whole time that her and I were together, I kept hearing, don't base anything on this other person. And I understood it on one level, but I've come to understand it much more deeply now. We can't base our peace, our serenity, or our happiness on anyone else. It has to be completely based on who we are and finding balance and comfort and peace within ourselves. If we go around trying to find comfort in everybody else, or trying to find somebody that's just going to make us this ultimate happy, to me, I don't believe that's reality. I believe that's an illusion that society's created. Now, can we be really happy with someone? Yeah, I believe that completely. And I will never lose that belief. I will never lose that hope or desire to find that certain person. And I've come to see it that we're on the same vibration, that we share the same priorities and the same visions and the same goals in life, and we can work for the common good and benefit of ourselves and other people. But am I focusing on that like I was when I started the book at the beginning, The Marriage of the Heart? No. I've grown so much and I've let so much go during the time that I've been writing this book, which, every time I write a book, that honestly, that happens. But I really have come to see that our true happiness is finding the connection with God and coming to a peace with ourselves. And truly, coming and cleansing our heart. I'm sitting out here in the grass, and so every once in a while something starts crawling on me, like a cat. Or I had to knock down a bunch of spider webs to be able to sit here. I forget what these palm trees are called behind me, but they're really pretty. And they're very expensive here in Hawaii if you want to buy them. And then, I have my garden that I come out here, and that's very nurturing to me. Most of my life I spent a lot of time alone. But honestly, have I ever really liked that? Not too much. I always wanted somebody to share with, my life with. I can remember back as far as maybe 5-6 years old, dreaming about my sweet princess and longing for her and looking for her and talking to her and where you at. And I still, have that in my heart. I just, I know it's going to happen. I'm not afraid anymore that it's not going to happen. And I think for so long in my life, I was afraid that I wasn't going to find that right person. The wind is, I have this laptop sitting on a box and the wind is moving it around, so I'm using my shoes to adjust the box. Quite ingenuitive, huh? Don't you think? See, this is where I'm just becoming so much more me. That in the beginning I was so insecure with making these videos that I think I was very stoic. I know in a lot of them I look back and I thought about deleting some of them, but I'm just like, no, that's where I was. That's where I've grown from. I think it's good for everybody to see. I was very, very sad. And I was crying and I was grieving. I was crying over missing my kids, losing my mother, losing the woman that I've loved more than anybody else in my life to this point. And that's okay if that's where we're at. We have to learn to grieve. We have to learn to cry. The tears wash our heart and soul. And if we can't cry, we can't feel pain, we can't feel sorrow, then I don't think you can feel great love either. Because it's so much of a balance and harmony in life that, you have the love and it's kind of like the love. They play this, the love and the pain, they play this beautiful dance together. And when you learn to embrace both of them, then, it's kind of like your hands working together. And that's what I desire in life with a woman, is just to be able to come to a place of harmony with each other, where there's no conflict. We can each do our separate things if that's what we feel led to do. But at the same time, that you do it all together. It's like you plan things together. You're in agreement about the things that you're doing in life. That it's just not one person being super independent and telling the other one, this is what we are going to do, this is what I'm going to do, whether you like it or not. To me, that's a great lack of compassion, a great lack of tenderness and appreciation and love. And this is where we need to learn to be intimate on every level. And in order to do that, we have to be sensitive to each other and compassionate with each other. Even our friends, our family, our children, our parents. It's that deep, genuine sensitivity to where I really care. A friend posted an article today on Facebook about just listening to people, taking the time to listen to people. It's both ways. I'm a very good listener, and I listen to people for hours and hours. But it's so nice when I have somebody I can talk with and share with, and they just listen. And as they feel led to give input, but I'm not looking for all the answers from anybody. Sometimes it's just nice to be able to share your heart and get a little bit of feedback and somebody care enough to listen. In part of our busy, busy, busy world is how many of us will take the time to sit and talk to somebody for 2 or 3 hours. And honestly, I do this all the time. My kids, when they were little, I'd go someplace and start visiting with somebody 6 hours later, and my kids learned to be very patient. They wouldn't bother me. They wouldn't come and be nagging. They would just like, okay, Daddy's talking again with somebody. And it became a normal part of life. One time I walked away, I had my head shaved, and one time I walked away, and later on I realized my head was all sunburned. And I'd been talking to this guy that I had just met, stopped talking to him about some hogs, and I told the kids, I said, I feel like my head's sunburned. Well, Daddy, you were out there a long time. I said, no, it wasn't that long. And the kids said, well, Daddy, it was 6 hours. So I stood out in the hot sun in Texas and talked to this guy with 6 hours, bald head, no hat. But, maybe it felt like I'd been there a couple hours with him. There was such a harmony and a communion going back and forth between my heart and his. And I've stopped to visit with the fellow many times since. When I was there, I haven't been in Texas now for going on 3 years. And, but I don't regret any of those times that I took with people. Not one. Because it enhanced my heart to listen to them, to allow them to open up their heart. And at the same time, to watch them go from being really burdened and really sad, to watch their hearts just open up and you're smiling and you're laughing and you're having a good time. Sometimes 30 minutes into it, sometimes it takes a couple hours because somebody's just really locked down. And it's about the intimacy in life. without the true intimacy of the heart, life's very empty, folks. Very, very empty. You can buy a new car, you can buy diamond ring. I mean, I went through all that. One year, when I was 23 years old, I spent $10,000 on fancy suits, and man, I was dressed up. Everybody told me, boy, you look like Mr. GQ. And I felt that way. I was just like, man, I feel good. But at the end of all of it, I was bawling my eyes out sitting at the table a year later, because all them things I bought, a brand new truck, all them suits, I bought a condo for myself, I bought all new furniture, I bought myself a new TV, I spent $1,000 on a real comfortable bed. And in the end, I could sleep on the sofa that cost me $300 for the whole set, better than I could sleep on the bed. So you go figure. It ain't in the money. It's not about the material world, it's about your heart. And for me, I'm just so happy. I'm learning this so much deeper every day that I wanted to do a video, and I don't even remember what I said I'm going to call this in the beginning, but it's just genuine happiness. You're genuinely happy when you let go of all the things in the world and you connect with that little child inside of you. You embrace God's energy to heal. You clear your karma from past lives, this life, anything that you've done. And boy, when you come out the other side, it's like nothing can touch you. I'm not saying I still don't have some ups and downs, because I do. But it's like I wake up in the mornings, I find. I used to wake up with all kinds of dark energy after me and just struggling, and it'd take me a few hours to get through it. And I find myself waking up more and more singing. And singing to myself, just singing joyful songs. I find myself waking up in the middle of the night in that place, trying to go to bed, and then just staying that way all day. You know, a place of genuinely being grounded, balanced, secure with myself. It's like I've been waiting for, I'm looking at probably August, doing my first retreat here in Maui. And I've been talking about it for people for a couple years now, and people have been asking me for a couple years. But I'm finally to the place now where I feel like I'm at peace. It doesn't matter whether I do them or not do them for me. But I think this place in life that I know and that I found, it's based on the heart. It's based on the spiritual world. It's based on love, compassion, tenderness, mercy, and forgiving. I ended my book, Marriage of the Heart, with some, I've been told each chapter is really good in itself, but I really felt like I needed to touch base on hope, humility, forgiveness, and then the last chapter, I believe I called it, I See You. And, you know, as I do this, I hope you see me. I hope you see my heart. Not who you think I am, not who other people might say that I am. This is what I talked about in that last chapter, but I want you to see genuinely me, inside of me. You know, I tell people I'm just a little boy in a 6'2", 240-pound body. And I've learned to be a mature soul. I know how to be a man. I'm very much in touch with my feminine side. I'm very, very sensitive to people and the hurt and pain inside of them. And I've been crying for 30 years for humanity. That we would come to this great awakening, that we would be able to be happy. We'd be able to love each other, stop all the fighting and bickering and the wars and the greed and everything else, and genuinely come to a place of compassion for each other. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about me, my, mine, I. It's about we're all intricately woven to this world, and we need to wake up to realize that. If I do something to hurt you, then I've done something to hurt me. If I do something to hurt anyone, I've done something to hurt my kids. You know, we're so tied together. And we can look at it in the world and all the things that are going on and how it affects all of us. So, again, if I just touched one person, you know, and take off all the masks, you know, just be you. Good, the bad, the ugly, and then see how people really like you. Maybe they won't. But me, I'm okay. My grandmother was like that. My grandmother was, her name was Eva May, and she grew up with brothers that beat her up. I mean, she grew up in a rough time back in the, I don't know, she's She'd be 90 something now, so early 1900s. And people would say, either May, well, you love her or you hate her, but you know where you stand. She was always honest. She was always very genuine. She'd give you the shirt off her back, but she always spoke her heart. And I guess that was an example I had. I've learned to temperament my heart. I'm not going to say something just to hurt someone. And my grandmother was capable of that when she'd get upset. But anything that comes out of my mouth is going to be to help me heal or somebody else heal. And that's what I would hope to encourage you in this. That's what will bring you genuine happiness, is if we all focus to bring healing to ourselves and to the people around us. Wow, what an amazing place we'd have to live in. Think about it. If we just put away all the stuff that doesn't matter and we just focused on healing and healing ourselves, and then we turn around and share that with everybody we possibly could, and life would take care of itself. I've learned that. I don't try not to focus on money. Yeah, I need money to live like everybody else, but it's definitely not my first priority. And I've lost, a couple of people in my life, a couple of ladies that I really love, because I wouldn't make money a priority, and it was a priority to them. I'm going, I can't do that. The heart, the healing, growth, the spiritual realm, that's what's important to me. God's divine love and compassion. And I know that whatever I need in my life, financially, when it's time, it'll be there. When it's time for me to start traveling, the money will be there for me to do so. I just look at it, everything happens for a reason. I'm not supposed to go anywhere right now. So this is probably one of the longest ones I've done as far as a video. But I hope that you feel the great joy that's in my heart. Yeah, I started tearing up, but it's a tearing up for the souls that are in pain. And honestly, I don't want to get away from that. I don't want to ever lose that sensitivity to know there's so many people that are hurting and they need to be touched and they need love. I hope that each one of you can walk away with something from this that will open you up, and that you'll be able to turn around to somebody today and give them a hug and tell them genuinely from your heart how much you care about them and how much you love them. And I love all of you. I hope that there's so many of you that I want to meet. I want to thank you for all the emails and all the positive responses you've given me for the things that I'm sharing from my heart, and let you know how much you've helped me through my dark times and through my grieving and crying and growing. And I hope to just be able to give it back a million times into the world. And I look forward to meeting a lot of you with love from all of my heart from here in Maui. I'll just say this is Little Aaron signing off, and Big Aaron out here on the top in the body. So you guys have a nice day, and I hope to talk to you, a lot of you soon. Bye-bye.